Good morning, saints, snitches, and the rest of y'all still lying in the group chat. Welcome to Morning Tea and Allegations, where the devil gets no mic and the truth gets the final say. Just to get some. Hey, hey. She don't run on rumors, she run on receipts. Sanctified shade with the screenshots to preach. This ain't just gospel, it's gospel flow. She prays, she claps back and lets the spirit go. Bible in one hand, the dark's in the other. She speaks with fire, can't silence the truth. Hosted by Bianca, the snitch with a mission. Calling it out, cause our children deserve better. Morning tea and allegations, pouring truth with no hesitation. Accountability in rotation. This is gospel education. Transparency is our foundation. Integrity leads the conversation. No rumor, no speculation. Just facts, receipts, and revelation. Morning tea and allegations.
Good morning.
No fake tongues, no false relations. Just truth, conviction, and conversation. Morning tea and allegations. Snitches on the airwaves. Known again, Snitches on the airwaves. Morning tea and allegations. Snitches on the airwaves.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, indeed. Hey, come on. Welcome to Morning Tea and Allegations. This is your host, Bianca Goolsby, otherwise known as Petty B, and welcome. Okay. We are on season 4, episode 8, and the title of today's episode is Rapture Talk. I just want to say that if you missed what I posted last week, it was a rapture, and there's another rapture, and we're going to get to that and the conversations about it and the power of the internet and why it's very important to be very, very intentional with the things that you're watching and consuming on the internet, because woo child, it's a lot. As I was preparing for the show, I sent a message to my equalizers in Patreon, and I just want to give out a shout out to them. Let me get the right sound effect here, because I really do need to give them a round of applause for being in the space, and I'm just so grateful for them. I am so grateful to my equalizers in Patreon, and I give them a preview of the topics. I give them the docket, so it gives them an opportunity to see the things that I'm going to be talking about. In addition, they be sliding stuff in my inbox. You know, they be like, hey, Bianca, you seen this? You see this? And during the school board meeting in Hillsborough County, I had people in my inbox like, hey, you see this? You see this? So I'm inviting you to join my Patreon community, because I'm not fighting with these different algorithms to have things be seen. So if you want to see the things that are happening, the things that I'm creating, the things that I'm producing, the things that I'm a part of, I am asking you to be a part of my Patreon, and I will make sure that I post the link in the description and also in the comments so that you're able to gain access to it. Okay. Now, who child? I need to make sure I play these disclaimers and get information. So I want you to make sure that you are governing yourselves accordingly when it comes to this disclaimer, because we have a lot to discuss, a lot of things to talk about, and I'm glad that you're here with me this morning.
Thank you, church members, as we have additional announcements and disclaimers that require your full attention. I am a certified snitch and whistleblower that reports on what is happening in our community. Like I always say, people lie, receipts don't. With that stated, the content used in this programming is protected under fair use. In addition, the views and opinions on this programming belong to me. I hold myself accountable and prioritize accuracy and truthfulness in my communications. So unless you have receipts, don't start with me. God is still working on me. I love the block button to protect my peace, and I desire to snitch on everybody, including me. Thank you for your attention, and govern yourselves accordingly. Amen.
But God said post and let the record stand.
I need y'all to understand that I am just here to report the things that's going on here. I'm not out here trying to gossip. I'm not out here, misaligning people's characters or making false accusations. If you check some of the last episodes of Morning Tea and Allegation, I'm really holding people's feet to the fire here as it relates to the way that they operate and conduct themselves. And I mean that. The three keys: accountability, transparency, and integrity. Okay. We fall short, we make mistakes, but the important thing is being accountable to that. Okay. Now, woo, child, listen, listen. So, for the past couple of episodes of Morning Tea and Allegations, we've been going to Oklahoma, which I want to remind y'all that it is ranked 50th in the nation. Well, the superintendent that has been in hot water, I've been talking about him for the past couple of episodes. Well, he is resigning, and his announcement was made public on Fox News. His fellow Republican lawmakers didn't even know. The first time that they knew about it was when it was in the public media. In fact, the local news is still, okay, as I'm recording this, is still trying to obtain his resignation letter. Y'all, I can't make it up. Okay. I can't make this up. So I want to go ahead and take us over to YouTube where he actually says that he's resigning. And I want to take you to the local news there, KOCO5 News, which reported this announcement last Wednesday when I wasn't here because I was raptured, remember? That he resigned and he has become the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance. Teacher Freedom Alliance. All right, let's go ahead and get this queued up because I need y'all to see this video and how all of this is just coming full circle when we've just been talking about this state for a couple of episodes now. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
This fight's going national, and we will get our schools back on track.
To the big developing headline that we're following right now, State Superintendent Ryan Walters says he will resign from office. He made the announcement on Fox News last night.
He says he's taking a job in the private sector as the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance. KOCO's Cameron Seibert live at the Alert Desk for us this morning. Cameron, you have the very latest on this developing story.
This is a lot to unpack this morning. It's a pretty unexpected announcement. Walters not exactly saying when he will resign, but we might learn more about that this morning because the Oklahoma State Board of Education has a meeting at 9:30. Walters would be expected to be there. He now says he will become the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance. That's a newly created organization that just launched in March and says it supports the rights of teachers in America. It calls itself an alternative to teachers' unions.
We are one of the biggest grassroots organizations in the country. We will build an army of teachers to defeat the teachers' union once and for all.
So Walters will go into the private sector. His resignation means Governor Stitt will have to appoint a candidate to take his place. One name might be Oklahoma Secretary of Education Nellie Sanders, who was appointed as secretary in January of 2024. And again, that State Board of Education meeting is going to be a big one, 9:30 this morning.
All right, Cameron, thanks. And new this morning, Oklahoma Attorney General Gentner Drummond reacting overnight, calling the Stitt-Walters era a, quote, embarrassment to our state, noting that test scores and reading proficiency is at a historic low. He says it's time to move forward and focus on, quote, quality instruction in our public schools.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I can't make this up. Like they are still trying to receive his resignation letter from the position. And again, he's going to be the CEO of Teacher Freedom Alliance. I actually want to take you to their website, but before I do that, because of this resignation that was done publicly on Fox News, and no one had any type of notice that this was happening, there were lawmakers that called into question potential ethical violations following this announcement. So I want us to go to news station KFOR, Oklahoma's News 4, when they reported on this situation, because lawmakers are asking some really great questions as it relates to ethics. So let's go ahead and see what they're saying.
State lawmakers raising ethical concerns over State Superintendent Ryan Walters' new job.
He says he's resigning, Ryan Walters does, from his state job to become the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance, which brands itself as a conservative alternative to teachers' union.
As News 4's John Hayes tells us, this is not the first time Walters' ties to the group have raised questions. John.
Jolene, Kevin, this state representative raised concerns earlier this year that Walters was endorsing the group in his official capacity as superintendent. Her complaint went nowhere, and attorney tells us now that nothing likely will.
I'll be stepping down as Oklahoma State Superintendent and taking on the role as the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance.
I mean, I can't wrap my head around it.
Oklahoma City Democratic Representative Ellen Pogamiller tells me her feelings about State Superintendent Ryan Walters' new job are complicated.
In March, Superintendent Walters had sent out a press release using his letterhead and using his power of his position to kind of declare this new union, Teacher Freedom Alliance, coming to Oklahoma and making it the preferred union over all other unions in the state.
We received 3 of those press releases and another email sent to parents about the organization in 1 week. Founded in March, the Teacher Freedom Alliance's website says it is a group of former educators that want to assist the best of our profession to stay in the classroom. It has over 3,000 teachers enrolled. Its president is also the CEO of the Freedom Foundation, an anti-teachers union group. Ryan Walters spoke at their summit in Colorado 2 years ago and then billed the state over $500. I reached out to a spokesperson Thursday and an Oklahoma member of the group requesting interviews to explain what they do, but never heard back. Pogamiller started asking questions when she saw those press releases we mentioned.
I had reached out to the Ethics Commission, really with the concern that we are not allowed as state officials, we're prohibited from using state resources to promote private industry.
She says she also reached out to Oklahoma Attorney General Gentner Drummond to weigh in, but that didn't go anywhere. The Ethics Commission discussed the issue at a May 1st meeting, saying the Teacher Freedom Alliance was a nonprofit and Walters hadn't broken any rules so long as he received nothing for promoting them. Pogamiller said after watching this a few more times,
I'll be stepping down as Oklahoma State Superintendent and taking on the role as the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance.
She thought it was worth a follow-up.
Hey, he can still be held accountable if we can show that he had private gain through using his state position.
Enter Oklahoma election law attorney A.J. Ferretti.
There would have to be some sort of a setup by the bureaucrats within the Ethics Commission. The bureaucrats would have to find some sort of cause of action, and they like finding cause of action. They like finding those. But they would still be required by the ethics commissioners to actually take a vote before any investigation was initiated.
The stars would also have to align for a vote in a public meeting, the next of which isn't scheduled until October 9th, 8 days after Walter says he's starting his new job.
By the time any investigation opens against Mr. Walters, he'll probably already be out of office, and the Ethics Commission won't have any authority to investigate anything that he's doing.
Pogamiller says no outcome will change how she feels.
Walters is noise. He's not actually working to improve education for students.
Now, I did reach out to a spokesperson for Superintendent Walters, but didn't hear back. We've also been trying to get clarification on when Walters will formally resign. The governor's office tells me as early as today, the state has not received his resignation letter.
Yeah. So I'm glad this programming has been able to follow this debacle for some time now. Again, 50th in the nation for education, and our children deserve better at the end of the day. Okay. Let's go ahead and shift into some news that we really need to talk about. Last week, I posted a video on Facebook that I was raptured. Okay. For those of you that don't know, it was a lot of conversation about the rapture that was coming on September the 23rd through the 24th. Now the goalpost has moved, and allegedly, the rapture has a new date. Y'all ready? October 6th through the 7th. Let's go ahead and roll. Let's go ahead and roll the clip. Yeah.
Remember, the rapture was supposed to happen on the 24th or the 25th of September.
I don't even know what to do at this point. I gave my house away.
Well, we're back, guys. It's still on, and it's apparently happening on October 6th and 7th. The original pastor who made the prophecy and revelation that God told him that the world was ending on the 24th came out and said, well, in fact, God didn't let him know that he was using the wrong calendar and that Jesus used the Julian calendar. So he knows with 100% certainty that the rapture is going to be on the 6th and the 7th.
I'm 1,000,000,000% sure that the rapture is going to happen on the 23rd and the 24th of September 2025, our Gregorian calendar. It will put you on the 7th and the 8th of October.
Not only are we back like we never left, RaptureTok is back, there have been thousands of people coming back online making videos about the Julian calendar, telling everyone that the rapture is still here and that they're happy they sold their cars and their houses and that people should prepare.
The rapture is on September 23rd and the 24th on the Julian calendar.
6 days, almost 5 days to rapture time.
The rapture is still happening, and the prophecy is still in motion.
I wasn't wrong. The watching community wasn't wrong. Brother Joshua was not wrong about September 23rd to the 24th because it hasn't passed on the Julian calendar, and we should be using the Julian calendar because it was the calendar that Jesus was born on.
Yes, I used to say, remember September because October will be Shocktober. I didn't know what I was saying until today, because October 6th and 7th on the Julian calendar is 9/23 and 9/24.
Oh, poor baby. Jesus didn't use the Julian calendar because he was Jewish and the Jewish people used the Hebrew calendar. But hey, I digress. You guys don't know the Bible, apparently. Someone who grew up in church, and I haven't been in church in years, I still remember the Bible, but you guys do what you want. All I want to say is, don't get out in these streets and get real crazy when the rapture doesn't happen again. Because like the Bible says, if you believe in it, no man shall know the day nor the hour when the return of the Lord shall come. That plus the rapture is made up. It's not in the Bible. The concept of the rapture was created in the 1800s, in the late 1830s or some shit like that. And if there's anybody out there who feels the need to give away some more stuff, I didn't really benefit from any rapture reparations. I am available. DM me. My DMs are open. But hey, we're back, guys. We're back. We're back on RaptureTok. Hey, I'm not laughing at anybody's beliefs. I just want to say, good luck. Good luck.
Okay, so this man is 1,000,000,000% sure that it's going to happen on October the 6th through the 7th, which is great because the next episode of Morning Tea and Allegations is going to be on October the 8th. So we'll see what happens, and then we can have a conversation. I want to just share that as a preacher's kid, a PK, that this conversation and these conversations have been very intriguing to see, particularly when people are making some very severe and drastic life changes because of what they've seen on the internet. And coming from the church and being a big part of the church system, I have seen how beliefs have turned into things that in some cases were not true. I'll give you an example. Okay. So at the church at the time that I was attending growing up, there was a whole thing about Pokemon. I'm going to continue to tell this story. So if you heard this story before, you're going to hear it again. Okay. I had Pokemon cards, y'all. I had them laminated. They were sorted by power, and it was a thing. I love me my Pokemon cards. Okay. At the church, they had sessions that said that the Pokemon cards were witchcraft, in which it then caused my father to discard my Pokemon cards, which, by the way, I don't know if you've seen the news of the price of Pokemon cards surging. Okay. Also, the church said that SpongeBob was gay and that I shouldn't be watching SpongeBob. And at that time, I just had to put my foot down because absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. So we'll follow up next Wednesday to see how all of this goes and the conversation that is taking place. But I want to say a lot of this conversation is happening on TikTok, which I am going to close you with because I could have sworn that TikTok was classified as a national security risk. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and move forward. So the U.S. Department of Education releases a record $500 million for charter school programs. Let me go ahead and share my screen so that you can see some of the press release. Okay. Share. All right, there we go. Okay. So why is this significant? So this is significant because it is marking the largest investment in the program. Okay. The funds will be spread across 6 program areas with the goal of expanding school choice. So these are some of the questions that I have. Okay. Will this money actually help underserved communities? Excuse me. Let me get my tea because the tea hot. Or will this money further widen the gaps between traditional public schools and charters? Okay. Will this money actually help underserved communities, or will it widen the gaps between traditional public schools and charters? Okay. The next question I have is, who ensures transparency and oversight with such a massive funding boost? Again, this is one of the largest record of release of money to this type of program. So I'm just wondering, who is going to ensure transparency and oversight with this? Particularly given that charter schools have a mixed track record. The next question I have is this really about improving educational outcomes or the politics around weakening our traditional public schools? And my last question about this is, how will this impact local districts that are already struggling with underfunded public schools? Those are some of the questions that I have as it relates to this press release and what is actually happening. I am going to post the link in the description and in the comments so that you're able to read this press release for yourself from the U.S. Department of Education as they outline these 6 programs. And again, making history for the largest financial investment in the program ever. Meanwhile, okay, there is another press release that came out where the U.S. Department of Education also is moving to end funding for minority serving institutions. So while the U.S. Department of Education made the large investment in charter schools, I want to also highlight that 350. Let me get the sound effect for this because this is important. Okay, $350 million in discretionary MSI, standing for Minority Serving Institutions, grants are being cut. Now, again, why is this significant? This is significant because there are so many grants that have been lifelines for institutions serving marginalized communities. So there are some questions that I have as it relates to this. So without MSI funding, how will HBCUs, HSIs, that stands for Hispanic Serving Institutions, and other MSIs sustain programs that address historically underfunding? Without MSI funding, how will HBCUs, HSIs, standing for Historically Serving Institutions, and other MSIs sustain programs that address historical underfunding? The next question that I have is for many first gen and minority students, these programs funded tutoring, mentoring, and STEM pathways. So what happens to them now? And my last question about this is America moving backwards on educational equity in the name of equal protection? I just hope that you hear what's being said and it's not being said out loud directly. But when you're putting a bunch of money into different charter school networks while underfunding programs that are targeting to support minority serving institutions, when there's historical data that proves that there were laws and things put in place as to why the gap existed in the first place, I just want you to read the room and to hear what's being said. That's not being said out loud. Okay? This is really, really important. And I need people to be very aware and intentional about these headlines from the U.S. Department of Education, which, by the way, there's so much that's happening in this department still. Okay? Whew. I just need to take a breath for a moment because I'm very passionate about this, because our children deserve better. Our children didn't ask for this. And we have people in position, some of which haven't even stepped a pinky toe in the classroom to teach our students, that are making policy decisions that have such a detrimental impact on folks because we're not being intentional to supporting all. Okay. So let's go ahead and move to this cell phone ban. Now, the cell phone ban has been pretty interesting because there are several states, and I want to go ahead and upload this map so that you're able to see it. There's a map that was created by ABC News highlighting a chart broken down by where states have bans, partial bans, or no bans at all. And so you should be able to see that on my screen here for those that are watching. And for those that are listening in the podcast version, I invite you to come on YouTube or on Facebook. Again, Facebook has their policy about lives being up for 30 days. So your best bet is YouTube. Okay. Going and seeing this chart for yourself and seeing the different red, yellow, and green markers that are on this map. And I found the conversation about this very, very interesting. For those of you that don't know, I have made it one of my life missions to help protect our children online. I have been featured in the media. I have presented webinars and workshops. There's a website that you can go to that I own, checkthecellphone.com. This is very, very serious for me because there are things that are happening on the internet, and we need to be very mindful of what our children have access to, but also not just our children. We need to be mindful too. I have seen so many things as a business educator, okay, business technology at that. And then on top of that, being a digital strategist. And there is so much that's out here. It is harming our children. There are mental health implications, and there needs to be more policy that addresses the issue. And there are some tech companies that are very complicit with the things that are happening, which we're going to circle back to TikTok in a moment because this is one of the companies that I want to highlight and emphasize today. But I want to share a video because there are educators from different parts of the United States that are sharing how they feel about the cell phone ban. And there's this one educator in Texas that shared his views. And I want to know what your views are if you're in the classroom working with students in the shifts that you've seen, if you are in a state that has a ban. And I want to know what's working and what's not working because it's a lot that's happening in our classrooms, and ultimately, our children deserve better. So let me go ahead and play this video for you because I want you to see his perspective.
So we're coming up on 2 months into the school year, and in the state of Texas, it's been an interesting ride. Hi, my name is Chad Kirby, and I'm a high school counselor as well as an LPC. And over the summer, House Bill 1481 was passed, which banned all personal communication devices and digital devices in the state of Texas in public schools. This has been nicknamed the cell phone ban, but it covers more than that. It's smartwatches, earbuds, headphones, and any other tablets not issued by the school. Texas lawmakers stated that their original goal for this was to reduce distractions in the classroom, to increase sociability, and to foster a more mentally sound campus. At our school, if we see a student that has their cell phone out, we have instructed the educator to take that and to turn it into the office. When that happens, we document that the phone was taken up. We call home and we make a parent come and get the phone. And we don't explain the school policy or the district policy. We explain that state law says that they cannot have the phone out. If they continue to keep getting in trouble with their cell phone, we continue to take it up every single time, but we also add on some other consequences, such as detentions or in-school suspension. If a kid refuses to turn in their cell phone, they are promptly suspended and they can try again the next day. I can only speak for our campus, but this has been overwhelmingly a success for us. We have had fewer failing students, fewer students not completing their assignments. We've had fewer kids cheating, at least we think. We have noticed that in non-instructional time, such as passing periods and in lunch, that students are talking more. And my favorite part about this is we are seeing less fights. So if you're an educator in the state of Texas or you work at a school with a similar policy or law, what do you think about cell phones being banned during the school day?
Yeah. So I want to know from the folks that are in the classroom that are working with our children in a state where phones are banned during instructional time in school, how has it been? Okay. Parents and caregivers. I also want to know how it's been. Okay. There was a lot of controversy where parents were very upset about the phone ban, saying, I need to be able to have access to my child, as if they couldn't call the school to get access to their child, or there was a lot of conversations about, well, what if, you know, there's an incident that happens at the school, pum pum and all of that. And it's like, okay, they'll be able to text you, but you're not going to be able to get to them. And if the incident was happening at the school, there's going to be so many barriers that it's going to take you a minute to actually get access to your child if it's something that's active and something that's happening. So it was very interesting to see the conversations from different sides, even the children. There are children that are posting TikToks with the caption being like, our phone is banned, and I'm still doing these TikTok dances and uploading them on the internet. So I'm just telling you the things that I see, and I just got receipts for them. There's a lot of things that are happening on this internet, and ultimately, we do need to protect our children. Ultimately, we need to figure out what solution is going to be best. Not everyone's going to like the solution, but ultimately, I'm looking at these tech companies that have intentionally made these algorithms to ensure that they have more use on their platform, which is how they generate money. So, the more time that you spend on an app, the more profitable you as a user are to them, and they're going to continue to feed you content to ensure that you stay on the platform as long as possible. So not only do I want you to be mindful of your own practices and habits as it relates to your phone, but making sure that you check yourself before you check your children, because children are also modeling what they see. So if you're at a dinner table and you're sitting there with your phone scrolling and not having engaging conversations, what do you think your child is going to do? Okay. There's so much that's out there to help parents and caregivers bridge the conversation. And one of the places that you can go to get this resource is checkthecellphone.com. Okay. Now, let's shift to these educator confessionals. Okay. Who child? Okay. Let me pull it up because I have to read some of these confessionals, boy. Y'all, y'all be coming through with these confessionals, and I'm so glad to be able to do them and to be able to speak life and highlight this. But man, okay, there's a lot that's happening here. All right, so let me share my screen so that you can see some of this too. 1 second. And y'all, I forgot to show y'all the website. I forgot to show y'all the website. Before I share my screen for the educators confessionals, let's go ahead and go to this website really quick. We just gonna go back to Oklahoma just for a moment. Okay. This is the breaking news that is on the website for Teacher Freedom Alliance. Okay. And they have big news that the previous superintendent, current superintendent, I don't know, he starts his job today. Okay, at least that's what the press release says, is that he assumes the role of CEO October 1st, which is today. And again, I reported that they didn't get no resignation. So I don't know what that looks like, but I just wanted to just show the website so that y'all can see it, because they are essentially having this platform to eradicate teachers' unions. They want to fight against teacher unions. They are fighting against the NEA, the National Education Association, and also the American Federation of Teachers. This is what's on their website, folks. Okay? It's a lot that's going on. Even Manny Diaz is on here. And if y'all don't know who Manny Diaz is, we'll have to do a whole deep dive on this individual. But let teachers teach, let parents parent, and let kids be kids. I wish it could just be so simple. I wish it could be just so simple. Oh, Lord. Okay. Let me go ahead and shift to these confessionals, boy, because woo child. Woo child. Mm-mm. Okay. It's titled, I'm Tired. This is my 10th year teaching. And this year, I just feel like I can't keep up with things anymore. I can't keep up with all the grading, the behaviors, the various pointless meetings, the parents emailing all the time, the extreme behaviors, the district admins constantly visiting us since we are a failing school. I'm trying not to care, but I'm just tired. Any advice? Now, the comment section, it really got me. So I want to read some of the things that was stated in the comment section. So this person says, year 15, 9 at the same school, 9th grade with over 60% IEPs in the room. No support. And it's a good day when I only get assaulted once. We are 2 weeks behind where I wanted to be, and every day is worse. The next comment says, this is the worst year I've had in 25 years. The worst. I don't know how I'm going to make it. The unrealistic expectations from the district, the lack of planning time, the extra crap we are expected to do, dances, field trips, literacy, math nights, and all after school, mind you. Now let's talk about the behavior from the kids, the disrespect, the lack of accountability, no support from parents, and the fact that 4/5 of the class is over 2 grade levels behind. So that just mounds more paperwork, more intervention, etc. I am new to the district, and I've already let admin know that my mental and physical health is suffering greatly, and I can't sustain this for the year. I am probably going to let them know I am quitting in December. I can't do this anymore. For those of you that know my story, I was very vocal about how I felt working in the classroom and how it was damaging to my mental health for a multitude of reasons. And I am just sending so much love, light, and peace to our educators that are working hard every single day, to our bus drivers, to our custodial workers, to our cafeteria workers, to our paras, to our bookkeepers, to our front office staff, particularly the front office staff that is responsible for making sure who comes in and out of the school with all the things that are happening in the news. I know that that gives folks anxiety. I know that that's a very tough position to be in. And I am just sending so much prayers to y'all because it's not right. Our children deserve so much better. And if I could just take a moment to educate and to amplify educators' voices as folks are struggling, and it is month 2 or 3, depending on what state you're in, as it relates to the start of the school year. We have just started. We've just started. And you have teachers that are burnt out and are ready to be done. And for some of the parents, some of you was like, well, then quit. Well, then who's going to teach your children? Because it's already hard enough to get educators in the classroom. This is why we're dealing with some of the things that we're dealing with, right? So we got to figure out something. And meanwhile, our lawmakers, as we see across the board, regardless of what side of the aisle that you own, there's a lot of foolishness that's happening in politics. And I am just, again, uplifting and praying for the educators. And I'm always going to take a moment to send them love, light, and peace, to give them praise, to thank them for all of that, because our children deserve better. And I appreciate them for all that they do every single day for our children. So let's give them a round of applause. All right, the next confessional. The title is, you know it's bad when the students are worried for your safety. We have a no phones policy at my school, and I had to have admin come to my room to confiscate multiple phones today. Of course, the students were not happy that it happened. One student in particular came back to my room to retrieve their stuff and decided to come in cussing up a storm, calling me every possible name that they could come up with, and topped it off by slamming my door so loudly that multiple other teachers called to make sure that I was okay. After class, another student came up to me to tell me that they were worried about my safety. I'm a particularly small woman, and this student was so concerned that these kids, who are much bigger than me, are being so aggressive towards me. I reassured the student that if I'm not worried, they shouldn't be worried either, which is true. I'm not concerned for my safety in the slightest, but for a moment, I just had to sit with the fact that some students behave themselves so poorly and demonstrate such violent behaviors towards authority figures that other students are worried for the safety of their teachers. It's rough out here, y'all. And to that, I want to say there are so many viral videos that have been circulating on the internet where a teacher has taken a device or a video game and there is a violent reaction that occurs. I want to uplift that tech, like TECH, tech dependency is real. Digital addiction is real. And we need to have more conversations about that because it is happening. In fact, in Polk County, they have a petition to talk about the violence that's happening in their school district because there are more incidents that are happening in Polk County than ever before. And there's a petition that is out on the internet now to advocate for teachers to be in safer conditions. And it's not just happening in Polk County. I can tell you that I have witnessed seeing videos within the past 2 weeks of things that have been happening in our classroom and fights that have occurred, in which some of those fights have been recorded and posted on social media, all while in the state of Florida, there's a phone ban. There's a lot that is happening. And I am asking you, parents, that you have some intentional conversations about their digital hygiene, their digital access, and addressing digital addiction because it is very real. And if you take a phone away from your child and they have an adverse reaction, what do you think is going to happen when they're in a different setting at school, for example? Okay. So I just wanted to amplify this confession because I wanted to amplify digital addiction and how real it is and how scary it could be for our educators that is just out here enforcing the law. This is the law, folks. It's not just a policy someone made up. And in some states, this is the law. And our educators should not feel worried about their safety or other students be worried about the educator's safety because of the behavior that is happening. We need to do something. We need to say something. And I'm amplifying these voices again to highlight that there needs to be something done about this. This is not right. It's not okay. It's not okay. Now, this had me laughing. Now, I was cackling at this confessional, and I can't wait to read it to you. This confessional says, okay, I need to vent. Listen, I love my kids. I do. But if I hear 6-7 one more time, I'm going to lose it. I be mid-sentence and out of nowhere, 6-7. The whole class breaks down like it's open mic night. There is no classroom management strategy in the world for this. Ain't no PD session for what to do when your kids randomly scream memes like they're on TikTok live. And I just want to know, for the educators and for the parents and caregivers, have you heard your children say 6-7? And if so, do you know what it means? Okay. And I just want to play a clip from an educator that explains what 6-7 is. 6-7 is a meme. For those of you that know the reference, 1738. Okay, so that is something that's very similar. Okay, and if you don't know 1738, then come join me in Patreon and we can have a whole conversation about it. Okay, I want to be mindful of time today. Amen. So let's go ahead to this educator that explains what 6-7 is.
6-7. What does it mean and why are kids saying it? Mr. Lindsay back to define another word that your kids are using. Now, here's the thing. I don't have my coffee today because I need you to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, because this word, I defined it back in February. It has been around that long, but I am still getting so many requests daily. What's 6-7 mean? What's 6-7 mean? What's 6-7 mean? So it has blown up even more, and here I am to define it for you again. So we got to go all the way back to the beginning. Now, there is a song by Skrilla named Doot Doot. In the song, there's a reference to the number 6-7. It goes da 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 6-7. Now, this number was then popularized by different creators, primarily creating basketball sports edits and using that song over the edits. Now, most predominantly, LaMelo Ball was a part of the edits and referred to him as a basketball player that moves like he's 6'2", but is actually 6'7". Now, this meme goes viral. Now, everybody's making edits, everybody's saying 6'7", and all of these content creators are starting to put 6'7" into all of their things, and not just content creators, but actual basketball players in press conferences and things like that are saying 6'7", and so it just continues to become a thing, and now it is something that you're just trying to use to get somebody to reference the number 6'7", like, how tall are you? 6'7". What time is it? 6'7". What's that? 6'7". There's literally no circumstance where a kid might not say 6'7". So all of this to say, 6'7" is just a reference to a meme. There is no real meaning to it. It is a number that is fun to say, popularized by a meme with the hand motions, and it just doesn't mean anything. So that's what 6'7" means.
Yes, indeed. And I see in the comments 1738. Yes, indeed. So if you know, you know. Okay. All right. So that is 6'7". Okay. That's explained. I appreciate Mr. Lindsay coming on TikTok, coming on the internet to breaking down some of the terms and the things that are being used and said in the classroom, because it's important that you know. Okay. There are some words that our children are using that I have no idea what they're referencing. And it's very important that we talk to our children to figure out the context of what's being said, where did it come from, and all of that, because there are different language gaps that happen, that are happening, and we need to be aware of what's being said and why. Okay. Now, in this confessional, I was just cracking up because I saw a video on TikTok where a teacher actually used 6'7", and the students had a very interesting time processing what was actually happening. So I want to actually share the clip of this educator and how they use 6'7" in their classroom.
That's so weird. That's so weird. I don't know.
Who created this test?
I'm not allowed to help you.
Do you just add like the first 5 numbers together?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're right on the board. Yep, just follow the directions. Yeah, I just put that there to help you kind of keep track.
Yes, indeed. It was the little whisper, right? It was the little whisper of who created this test. So I just want to just let y'all know that it's important that we are really tapped into the needs of our educators, that we're tapped into the needs of our children, and that we're hearing these voices, that we are paying attention to what's happening. And I tell you, while I miss being in the classroom, there's other parts of me that feel like my impact is greater outside of the four walls in the classroom. And that's one of the things that I highlighted and I shared in my op-ed that went viral about my reasons for leaving the teaching profession. And in that, created this amazing organization, went through a multi-year trademark dispute. And there are so many things that are being rebuilt with Teaching for the Culture. And I'm just so grateful for your support and your love. And when I tell you the 2026 election, all the school board members, we're going to be having a conversation as folks are running for school board, helping folks that want to run for school board. And I'm just very grateful to be able to reimagine and re-envision what Teaching for the Culture is going to be after all of the obstacles and all the things that happened. And I just hope that you hear my passion and my voice in it, because it is so important to me. And just like social media safety is important to me. So remember, I said we was going to come back to TikTok and how all of this was going to come full circle. Okay. Remember that the title of today's episode is called RaptureTok. Okay. So I want you to hear where there were employees that was speaking out about TikTok. Mental health is very, very important, folks. And we need to be mindful of how we connect with these platforms, especially us, especially our children. And while most of the content gathered to prepare for this episode was from YouTube and TikTok, I want to briefly mention that some of the things that are being exposed is by internal company documents. I want you to hear TikTok employees raise concerns about their platform, the app, TikTok. So let me share my screen so that you can watch the video and we can talk about it together.
I mean, the product in itself has baked into it compulsive use.
We all have these really lofty goals of getting people to be on the app longer, like literally. Like that's like why we're all here, is to help continue to diversify the content ecosystem to make TikTok a place where you can get so much different types of content that you never want to leave.
Unfortunately, some of the stuff that people find interesting are not always the most healthy. So I think we do in a way encourage some of this content being put up just because of the way the platform is designed. And sometimes I worry about that.
We obviously wanted people to spend as much time as possible on TikTok, which can be in contrast to what is best for your mental health.
I'm going to post the link in the description and in the comments so that you have access to read the article and see the things for yourself. These internal company documents reveal that employees had warned leadership about the addicting features that were harming minors, and the company kept those addictive algorithms anyway. And one employee said that it keeps them up at night. Now, CNN reported this based on the lawsuit that was filed by North Carolina. And the spokesperson from TikTok said, since the launch of the app, we have steadily something popped up on my screen, y'all. Sorry. We have created a robust trust and safety track record with 70 plus features and settings designed specifically to support the safety and well-being of teens and families on TikTok, which the AG has chosen to deliberately ignore. Which I found all this interesting because there's been a lot of conversation about the acquisition of TikTok, and even one of the comments, that was posted, it says it's all going to change when the algorithm is controlled by 6 billionaires with vested interests in driving their revenue. Time to leave TikTok anyway. It's a lot that's happening with TikTok, and I want to take you over to whitehouse.gov. And when I was researching it today for the show, I just found it so interesting that this website has what it has. So we're going to go together, okay, to whitehouse.gov so you can see what I saw today, because I was so confused. So come on with me. I'm sharing the screen. This is active, okay? This is active. This is live right now. You have a banner that is moving on the page of this website that says Democrat shutdown. Democrats in their own words, with a watch now that takes you to a video. And then below that, it says Democrats have shut down the government with a timer. The timer currently says 10 hours, 41 minutes, and 40 seconds. But the reason why I went here, okay, is I went here so that I could share with y'all the conversation about TikTok, okay? So I'm just going to search TikTok, okay? And here we go. It says fact sheet. President Donald J. Trump saves TikTok while protecting national security. Now, the deals of TikTok and the acquisition have not been public. We don't know all the terms to that. We have no idea. There's been no receipts as it relates to what this looks like, other than a group of billionaires that have been having conversations about their acquisition and their stake. And there's, again, no real receipts written out of what this framework is, but there's been conversations that it would be in control by the United States government, that they would have a new algorithm and control of the content, and that China will divest in some of the acquisition of it. This is the fact sheet. Where's the sound effect for this? Because I need it. You are fake news. This is the fact sheet, y'all. Okay. You are fake news. Of the American benefit of ensuring that TikTok is still in operation, although, again, there's been so many conversations about this app being a national security risk. It is still operating the way that it has, and this is what is published, okay, currently on whitehouse.gov. So I want you to go see it yourself. And also, I need y'all to pay attention to this government shutdown. And before I leave you, I just want to let you know, okay, if for those of you that haven't been following politics and know who controls what. So the Republicans, they control the House. The Republicans, they control the Senate, and a Republican controls the White House. Okay. So why this is mentioned that this is a Democrat shutdown, I don't know. I have no idea why these narratives are being created and formed, but I want people to know that the different levels of government, I need you to get the receipts on who controls what so that you can be able to make the best decisions of which narrative you're going to believe, because I don't want you to be misled or gaslit. Okay. So the issue with digital safety and all of this is why I'm even bringing this up. Ultimately, how I even got to the website is not just TikTok. I have talked about popular games such as Roblox. I have talked about different apps that are out here, and we need to be intentional with our devices. Okay. Not just for us, but for our children that are watching us. And there's so much more. You have the FTC that is investigating Meta, Google, OpenAI, particularly with the chatbots where children have harmed themselves. I've talked about some of that on the Power Walks. Please go listen to the Power Walk series. You can listen to that where you can find all podcasts, and the video version is exclusively on Facebook. And there were researchers with Meta that even talked about the virtual reality, the VR, and how dangerous that it is for children. It's a lot going on, folks. It's a lot. So I hope that you have an amazing day. Again, I'll be on RaptureTok, getting the tea and to see how all this gonna work out, since apparently they on a different calendar, and so the rapture is happening. So we'll report back and see you next week, same time, same place. Okay. And for those that are on a replay ministry, I thank you for watching. I thank you for being a part of this movement. We need to protect our children. We need to be intentional because our children deserve better, and we need to continue to fight and hold people accountable. Okay. So with that, I love you. Take care. Bye.